Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball, the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on June 19th, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize at the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 8, 11, 14, 16, and 49. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 8 was green, the 11 was purple, the 14 was purple, the 16 was green, and the 49 was blue. So I'm going to color those in. So again, the 8 and the 16 were green. The 11 and 14 were purple. And the 49 was blue. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many colors I have. I have 2 green, 2 purple, and a blue for 3 colors total. Okay, so up here I'm going to make this 341 color code drawings I kept track of so far. And now a 3 color combination has now come up 182 times. Okay, so what I want you to look at here is this 3 color combination. Okay, so if you divide 182 into 341, you're going to see that a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge because long term, if I just keep on picking a 3 color combination, I know statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new game card. So I'm going to get rid of all these colors and start from scratch. Okay, so my color code is right here. These are the red numbers, the orange, green, blue, and whatever's left is purple. Okay, so basically what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers, I divided it by 5 different colors, and that's 1 color for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, and that equals 13.8. Okay, so my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, or a good representation of each color. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with these red numbers here. And I chose the last 3 drawings of numbers. And the reason why that is because this will give me a maximum of 15 numbers. Okay, so again, I'm going to start in with the 8, the 11, 14, 16, 49. And then the next row down is 5, 35, 38, 42, 57. And then the next row down is 9, 13, 42, which is already taken, 48, and 60. So again, I'm going to make these red numbers. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So I have 3, and 5 is 8, 2 is 10, and 4 is 14. So up here, this tells me how many colors or how many of that color I have on the game card here. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the orange area. Okay, and I'm going to start with the 17, the 23, 28, 34, 38, which is already taken, and then it's the 6, 15, 34, which is already taken, 45, 52, and then the next line down is 3, 32, 34, which is already taken, 42 is taken, 61, and then the last one is 1, 2, 39, 43, 66. So again, I'm going to make these orange numbers. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So I have 5, and 3 is 8, and 3 more is 11, and 5 is 16. Okay, so I'm going to leave that alone right there at 16. Okay, and then I would move on to the green, blue, and then whatever's left is purple. Okay, so just to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right here. I think you understand how I came up with this color code and how I came up with all the colors on my game card here. Okay, so again, I want to point out that more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up. Okay, so that means more than half the time, 2 colors are not coming up. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess what color won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so you can see that all 5 colors, they do come up. It's come up 12 times out of 341 drawings. Okay, so it comes up, but it's very rare. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on what color I don't think is going to come up here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with no green numbers. Okay, and the reason why is because a green number has now come up in the last 7 drawings. Okay, so I'm just trying to predict what the ebb and flow is going to be. And I'm going to predict that no green numbers will be coming up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to block out these numbers. Block out these green numbers here. Okay, so when I block out a number like this, this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these green numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the 69 numbers and I divided it into 7 different groups. Okay, so this is group number 1, it holds the numbers of 1 through 9. This is the only group with 9 numbers. All the others have 10 for 69 numbers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this here. Okay, actually I already updated it here. So here's the 8. All right, you can see that is green, and here's the 8 right here. So if you follow it down, you can see that I made this square green right here. Okay, so over here, this 3 means that 3 groups got hit. Okay, so group number 1 had the 8 in it, and then the teen group had the 11, 14, and 16 in it, and then the 40 group had the 49 in it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this down. Oops. I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card here. And I want to explain how this is used. Okay, so again, I have 7 groups here. Okay, and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, and the reason why I like to break it down into 5 is for a couple reasons. Okay, so when I go back into the history of things, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, but my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay, so again, the strategy is to eliminate groups of numbers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on where I don't think the winning Powerball will be. Okay, and I'm going to go with this teen group right here. Okay, now the reason why I'm doing this, all right? And the thing about this game is that we're all going to look at it a little bit differently, and we're all going to come up with a different result, okay? But for me, I look at this, and I see that the last time there was 3 numbers in one drawing like this, okay? The last time that came up, there was a number that followed, okay? And I'm going to say that I don't think any number is going to follow on this group here, okay? So I'm going to say that I don't think any teen numbers are going to come up, okay? So I want to eliminate those numbers off of my game card, okay? So I'm going to blow this back up. I'm going to go to the game card. And I'm going to eliminate the teen numbers, okay? So I got, it starts with the 10. I know the 10 and 11, 12 aren't teen numbers, but just to make it simple for myself, okay? So here's the 19 over here. So again, I'm going to get rid of all these numbers. And hopefully none of those numbers come up, okay? So moving on to the next strategy. That's strategy number 3, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks, okay? So, again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing, okay? So what I'm going to do here is... I already updated this, okay? So I have 386 drawings that I kept track of so far, okay? And out of this 386, 200 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers, and 186 drawings have been the majority of even numbers, okay? So the last drawing here is, if I go back to the game card, you can see that this was even, odd, even, odd. So 3 evens, 2 odds. You can see that I have 3 evens, 2 odds, okay? So again, what I'm going to do is try to correctly guess what the majority will be. Okay, so looking at this, you can see that there's 4 drawings with the majority of even numbers, and the last time there was a single was right here and right here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that there's going to be more odd numbers than evens, okay? Because it had a run right here, okay? 2 right here, 2 right here. So I think that this is just going to be a single blue mark here, okay? So again, I'm going to predict that there's going to be more odd numbers than even numbers, okay? So I'm going to write that down. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the 50-50 picks here, and I'm going to move on. Next one is high and low. Excuse me. All the numbers in red are considered high numbers. All the ones in blue are considered low. Okay, so the thing about this is that the 65, 66, and 67 are down here in the low numbers, or in the blue. Okay, so when those 3 60 numbers come up, I do record them as low numbers. Okay. So right now you can see that it's dead even, 193 to 193, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that there's going to be more high numbers than low numbers, okay? Just by looking through here, you can see that I like to break things down into 5 here, just so it shows me the majority of things, okay? So out of this 5 drawings, you can see the majority was high numbers, 4 drawings to 1, okay? So why I do that is, you know, when I look at this and break it down like this, you can see that there was a bunch of low, and now I think there's going to be a couple high here, okay? So what I'm going to do is predict that there's going to be more high numbers than low numbers, okay? So let me write that down as well. And I'll show you why I write it down. It's just to help me remember what I chose, okay? So moving on, the next one I have is left and right here, okay? So this is pretty close as well, 196 to 190, okay, for the drawings here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that there's going to be more numbers to the left side, okay? So as I scroll down, you're going to see that there was a bunch to the right here, okay? So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 drawings were the majority to the right side. And now I think that there's going to be a run of left here, okay? So I'm going to predict that there's going to be more numbers over here to this left side than the right side, okay? So I'm going to write that down as well. And again, this is just to remind me what I picked, okay? So moving on, I have one more. This is this red and blue area here, okay? Now I've been looking at this, and I don't need to make a guess at all of them, okay? So this one's, I'm not sure what's going to happen here. The blue is so far behind the red here. I'm thinking that there's going to be more blue numbers, but I'm not sure, so I'm just going to leave this one alone, okay? Again, you don't need to pick at all of them, all right? So moving on, I do have something for the Powerball number, okay? That's the red number. So if you're looking at this column here, basically what I did is there's 26 red numbers, so I just divided the numbers in two, okay? So if you see a blue number, that means it's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, that means it's high, 14 to 26, okay? Over here in this column, if you see a red number, that means it's odds. If you see a blue number, that means it's evens, okay? So looking at this, why I do that is now I just look at the colors, okay? So you can see that there's a single red, 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 okay? So when's it going to double up, like right here, triple up or whatever? I think it's going to be this drawing here, okay? So I'm going to predict that there's going to be more that the Powerball number will be a high number, okay? So instead of looking at all 26 numbers, now I just cut that in half. Now I'm looking at only 13 numbers, the 14 to the 26, okay? Now as I look over here, I think that this is going to go back to red, okay? So I'm thinking that this is going to be a high odd number, okay? So instead of looking at all 26 numbers, now I'm just looking at the 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, and 25, okay? I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with yet, okay? But probably the 21 because that comes up the most, all right? So that's how I use this, all right? So I'm moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers, okay? So basically what I did is I took all the numbers, I divided it into 4 different groups, okay? I put colors to these groups. So when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers land within these groups, I record where they land down here in the stats, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, okay? So I'm going to go back to the game card, and the 5 white winning numbers were the 8, 11, 14, 16, and 49. Okay, so the 8's over here. Okay, so you can see that with the game card here, I have these 5 numbers over here to the left. Okay, and basically why I did that is I want this grid right here. Okay, of 8 squares across and 8 squares down. Okay. But the thing is that there's 69 numbers. Okay, and that will only make 64. Okay, so what I did is I said, how can I work this? So basically what I call this is sharing a square, okay? So when it comes to this group 1 numbers, all right, the 8 and the 66 share this square, okay? So if I were to get rid of all these blue numbers here, I'm going to get rid of all of them, including the 8 and the 66 as a group, okay? So let me go ahead and finish this out. So again, it was the 8 in the blue area, 11 in the red, 14 and 16 in the blue, and 49 in the orange, okay? So down here I got 1 in the red, that 11. I got 3 numbers in the blue, the 8, 14, and 16. and I got one number in the orange to 49 and no numbers in the green area. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, if I could have correctly guessed that none of these green numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize in the Powerball Lottery. Okay, so what I do here is if it's a 0, I color the background blue for cold. And if it's a hit, I color the background red for hot. Okay, just give me some separation here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make this 27 drawings in a row that one of these blue numbers have come up, and 8 drawings for one of the orange. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a prediction on where I think that 0 is going to be. Okay, so the longest streak was 17 before this 27 here. Okay, so I'm going to guess that the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate all these blue numbers off of my game card. Okay, because I don't think that any of them are going to come up. So let me get rid of that, plus the 8. Okay, so the 8 shares the square with that 66, and I'm going to eliminate all those numbers all at once. Okay, so hopefully no numbers, no winning numbers come in this area here. Okay, and now I'm going to move on. So what I do is I have 15 of these option cards here. So this is option card number 1, and you can see that I use the colors of red, blue, orange, and green. I use that for all 15 option cards. Okay, it's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other, from each different option card. Okay, so the next one I'm going to pick is option card number 6, no red numbers. So the reason why I'm doing this is because this has hit 23 drawings in a row. Okay, so as you scroll down, you can see that, you know, it doesn't get into the 20s very often. Okay, so when it does, you know, it's just like automatic for me that I'm going to pick it to miss. Okay, so this has hit 23 drawings in a row. I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate all these red numbers off of my game card. Okay, so I'll block those numbers out. Hopefully those numbers don't come up. Okay, and then moving on, the next one I'm going to do is option card number 12, no orange numbers. Okay, so here you can see that it hit 20 drawings in a row where one of these orange numbers have come up. Okay, so I want to explain what this row is. A row is when all 4 colors came up on this particular option card. Okay, so I call that a row, and you can see that there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows in a row here. Okay, so the one that sticks out to me the most is certainly this 20 drawings in a row here. So I'm going to get rid of all these orange numbers off of my game card. Okay, so that's the 2, 4, 28, and 26 here, so I'll get rid of those. So basically what I'm saying is that I don't think any of these numbers are going to be here in the low area. I think they're all going to be up here in the high. So we'll see what happens, okay? And that's kind of what I predicted. More high numbers than low numbers, all right? So that's it for group 1. I'm just going to go over 13, 14, and 15, okay? Those are my 15 option cards. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the next strategy. Okay, so strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1 where I divided things into 4 different color groups, here I divided things into 8 different color groups. Okay, so it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers, but with this, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these color groups will not have a winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this here. So again, the numbers were 8, which is this yellow, 11, this orange, 14 was brown, 16 was another yellow, and 49 was red. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards as well, and they all have the same colors to it as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, it's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this, and I always like to read things left to right. Okay, so I got a red number, an orange, a brown, and 2 yellow. So red, orange, brown, 2 yellow. So down here is current. This is the red area. I'm going to make this 1. That's for that 49. There is no winning Powerball numbers in the blue area. There's 1 in that orange, the 11. There's no winning Powerball numbers in that green. No winning Powerball numbers in the purple. There's 1 in that brown, the 14. No winning Powerball numbers in the gray, and 2 winning Powerball numbers in the yellow, the 8 and the 16. Okay, so how many color groups did it hit? 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I do is I'm going to keep this green. You can see this right side here, how it's green. Okay, so I'm going to keep this green because the majority of the numbers were over here to the right side. Okay, so if I go back into the history of things and all of a sudden I'm just looking at this 5 for whatever reason, well, I know that the majority of the numbers were over here to the left side because the 5 is red. Okay, so if I see like a streak of green here, well, I know eventually it's going to turn red. Okay, and that means that I think the majority of the numbers will be over here. So I'll be concentrating on the right side to look for that 0. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on what I think is not going to come up here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that no blue numbers will be coming up. I think the 0 will be right here. Okay, and the reason why, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, but there's been 9 drawings in a row where there was a hit, and now there's a 0, and now I think there's going to be a couple zeros here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these blue numbers off of my game card, and that runs from the 2 down to the 68. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the 34, 42, 50, and since the 58 shares the square with the 68, I'm going to get rid of that as well. Okay, so moving on. The next one is option card number 2. I'm going to predict that no red numbers are going to come up. Okay, so as I scroll down, let me go over why this is blue and why this is red. Okay, so again, I like to break things down into 5 because it shows me a majority. Okay, so you can see that this is 5-0, so the majority is misses. All right, so when that happens, I color the background blue for cold, and you can see that there was a couple hits here, 3 hits. So when that happens, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so we all know the lottery is random, right? So as I look down through here, this is what random looks like. Okay, so when I see something that's been like really hot right here, well, I know it's going to turn cold eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so you can see here, this has been really, really hot here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that the 0 is going to be right here. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to get rid of the red numbers here on this option card number 2. And that runs from the 1 over to the 66. And you can see that there's no numbers here to get rid of. Okay? So here's the thing. This is why I gave myself so many option cards here. Okay? Right now, as I go through all 15 option cards, you can see that there's a bunch of 4s here, okay? The average for all 15 option cards is like 3.9 to 4.2, something like that. So it's right around 4, okay? So that means that on average, for each of these option cards, there's going to be 4 hits and then 4 misses, okay? So it's like a 50-50 chance of me getting it right, okay? So here's the thing, I made my selection for red, all right? But now if I come back to this option card and I pick another one, my odds are going to go way, way up that I'm going to get it wrong, okay? So what I'm going to do is I made my pick for red. There was no numbers to eliminate, so I'm just going to move on to the next option card where I have that 50-50 chance of getting something right, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say that I think that this is going to be blue. I think the 0 will be right here in the blue area, okay? So I'm going to go up and see what numbers I don't think are going to come up here, okay? So it's the 1 to the 65 and the 38 to the 62. So I'm going to get rid of all 4 of these numbers, and hopefully none of those numbers come up, okay? So here's the thing. Again, I don't have to pick every single one of these, okay? So as I was going through here, I didn't have a warm and fuzzy feeling about any of these numbers here in option card number 4, okay? So I'm just going to leave that alone, and I'm going to move on. I cannot make a pick here in option card number 5. I cannot make one here in 6, 7, or 8. But I did make one here in option card number 9. I thought it was going to be the blue area. I think there's going to be a 0 right here, okay? So I'm going to get rid of the blue numbers here in this option card number 9. And that's the pattern of 227 on the left side and 1621 on the right side, okay? So I'll get rid of the 59, the 48, and the 69. Okay, so there's 3 numbers gone. Hopefully those numbers don't come up, all right? So moving on, option card number 10, I'm going to go with no gray numbers, all right? So scrolling down here, you can see how hot these gray numbers have been, okay? And now I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens, but I'm going to get rid of all these gray numbers, and that's the pattern of the 17, 28, all the way around here. So I'll get rid of the 49 and the 60, and that's about it. Okay, so moving on. Option card 11, I'm going to say no red numbers are going to come up. So here's the red, and as I scroll down through, you see that things got pretty hot right down through here, so I think the 0 is going to be right here. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to get rid of these red numbers, okay? It's the 35 and 56 is all I have to be concerned about here. So I'll get rid of the 35, 43, and 56. Hopefully those numbers don't come up. Okay, and moving on, option card number 12. I'm going to go with no gray again. Okay, so here's the gray, and scrolling down through, you can see things got pretty hot through here. And now I think the 0 will be right here. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to get rid of these grays, and that's the 38 to the 62. So I'll get rid of the 45. Hopefully that number doesn't come up. Okay, so moving on, option card 13. I'm going to go with no red. So scrolling down through, you can see how hot things have gotten here. And now I think the 0 is going to be right here. I think it's going to be a run of blue. We'll see what happens, okay? But I'm going to get rid of these red numbers. And that's the 61 to the 64. So I'll get rid of the 61 and the 55. Hopefully those numbers don't come up, okay? Moving on, option card 14. I'm going to get rid of the brown, okay? So as I scroll down through, you see how hot things have been here in this brown area. And now I think it's going to go on a run of blue here, so I think the 0 will be right here. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers, and that's the 52 over to the 68. So I'll get rid of that 52. Hopefully that number doesn't come up, okay? And moving on to the last one. This is my last option card 15. I'm going to go with no gray again. Okay, so as I scroll down through, you know, it's been 50-50 through here, but I think the 0 will be right here. We'll see what happens, okay? And I'm going to get rid of these gray numbers, and that runs from the 66 down to the 57. So I'll get rid of this 36 and 57. Okay, and that's going to leave me with 5 numbers, okay? So I got the 39, 41, 47, 51, 63. Let me write those down. Okay, so I'm going to go with, again, the 39, 41, 47, 51, and 63. So you can see that they're all odd numbers, okay? So I predicted there's going to be more odds than evens. You can see that they're all to the high side, which I predicted more to the high side. And I predicted more to the left, and you can see that turned out to be more to the right. So I'm going to eliminate that. Okay, so we'll see what happens, all right? But these are the numbers that I'm going to go with. And again, that's the 39, 41, 47, 51, and 63, okay? So what are the odds that I made all the correct picks here? Okay, so the odds are for the grand prize, and the grand prize for this drawing is up to, I guess it's not going to come up for me, 92 million, okay? So what are the odds of that? Getting all 5 white balls and a red ball, the odds are 1 in 292 million, okay? My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct. If I get the red ball, then bonus, okay? But the odds of doing that are 1 in 11,688,000, okay? A nice prize is 4 white balls and a red ball. That pays 50,000 plus the power play, okay? That's just about 1 in a million odds, all right? More realistic odds is getting 4 white balls. That pays $100. That's 1 in 14,000. Okay, getting 3 white balls is a $7 prize. Okay, that's 1 in 700. Okay, and if you get the red ball correct, I think that's 1 in 26. The odds are 1 in 26. Okay, so you know you can see the odds are really steep here. Okay, so I just want you to know that if you spend $3 per drawing, there's 2 drawings per week. That equals $312 per year that you would spend on the lottery. Okay, so in closing, I want to thank you for watching. Okay, if you like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. Okay, and as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.